was, and we got started right away.
Have you ever asked yourself why it is that tradwives and other conservative female influencers who promote traditional gender roles have all the time in the world to make cereal from scratch, but somehow never seem to record themselves doing essential domestic labor like vacuuming, trying to get a particularly nasty stain out of a shirt, or scrubbing a toilet? When they are performing labor in these videos, it's always something that, strictly speaking, is unnecessary, and they are doing it the hardest way possible. Because the answer is that it is for show. It is all a performance. In his remarkably prescient 1899 book, The Theory of the Leisure Class, Thorsten Veblen coined the terms conspicuous consumption and conspicuous leisure, suggesting that those with wealth and power no longer having any economic production to contribute themselves, instead contribute to the production and consumption of leisure. Those consumption practices, those leisure activities, are conspicuous precisely because that is how the leisure class signals their difference from the working class, signals their exceptionality and their superiority. They're not better than us because they can make their children cereal from scratch. They're better than us because they are so wealthy and well off that they have nothing more important to worry about. And if we were to ever see tradwives perform essential productive domestic labor, or see their husbands perform any domestic labor at all, that would in fact mark them as failures as tradwives. As Veblen wrote in 1899, again, he could have written it yesterday, application to productive labor is a mark of poverty and subjection. It becomes inconsistent with a reputable standing in the community. Because these videos are not instructional, they are maybe inspirational, but they are always performative. This is not real labor, this is symbolic labor. It is nothing more than social signaling that this woman and her family belong to the leisure class. And it is also how she builds and signals her value if you are the sort of person who operates within an exchange economy that assigns high and low value to human beings. Because her value to her husband is not in her ability to care for the home or care for the children, right? Anyone who is able to engage in this level of conspicuous leisure has somebody that they are paying to do all of those things. No, her value is instead in her ability to perform the role of trophy wife, and to be the ultimate realization and personification of her husband's socioeconomic prowess. Because tradwives are conspicuous consumers, yes, but it is the audience's consumption of tradwives that truly makes them valuable to their husbands.
I want us to really take take stock of the reference that he's making to Thorsten Veblen, because Thorsten Veblen was a socialist. Now, if you guys don't know anything about socialism, it's basically sort of like a Karl Marx light way of economic philosophical um, ideology of how to run an economy. And, that might sound really good on the surface if you really think about economies of benefiting communities. But the issue here is really how it's being used in a completely inappropriate way. And it's something that doesn't drive and fuel Western civilization. More to the point, it is an obsolete reference to make because it was made over 100 years ago, just before World War II. Now, I'm sure this individual is banking on you guys not knowing any of what he's talking about, and just hate on Nara Smith because she's beautiful, fabulous, and gorgeous, and makes content and people enjoy watching. And I guess she made him famous because the reference that he makes in his video to her got a lot of feedback, because people, of course, are going to hate on her through him because he seems to have articulated a point and ideology in such a way that resonates with people who have a problem with people who have wealth and power. But like I said, this reference is totally inappropriate for many reasons. And if you guys want to continue to have this discussion about why it is so, please leave a comment in the description down below, and I'll make a video especially on that topic. Because when it comes to valuing a woman's work, whether it be her economic status or the work that she does in or outside the home, or if she chooses to be an entrepreneur like Nara Smith is, I think that is something that capitalism affords us the opportunity to do. Something under Torsten Vedlin's rule, we would not have the privy of knowing how, we would not have the privy of being able to do. And so I guess we should thank this young man for bringing that to our attention, but he didn't really say anything. So he's got to go. No, he's got to go.
Wife, and to be the ultimate realization and personification of her husband's socioeconomic prowess. I really don't understand why this person used the video of Nara Smith as an example of what a trad wife is, because Nara Smith is not a trad wife. What I need people to do is start actually looking at who the people they're talking about are before they just clump them into just random generalizations of who they think they are. I like watching Nara Smith's videos. She is a successful model in her own right and has been for a very long time and makes a lot of money. She doesn't just sit at home all day and cook these special meals and pretend to just be like the trophy wife for her husband who is also successful. The assumption of that, I feel like, comes off as bitter from a lot of people who just get frustrated that there are people that exist in other socioeconomic classes, which, although I understand, you can't just paint with a wide brush. At the end of the day, if two people are very successful and they have a relationship that garners a lot of money for their family and they're able to do these things, then as long as they're not trying to push it as some sort of harmful rhetoric that everybody should be doing, which Nara doesn't, I don't see the issue with this. And you use the example of like, why doesn't she show like getting that one stain out of the clothes or like washing the toilets or something like that? Because this is social media, okay? We understand that everything on social media for the most part is calculated in some sort of way to garner views. Like, it's entertainment. Of course she's not going to show that. She's going to show her making cereal from scratch, not because she has the socioeconomic ability to, which she probably does, but also just because she knows that people want to watch her make weird stuff. Like, I really feel like one of the things that are really frustrating me about social media that I don't like to consume anymore is this idea that everything needs to be psychoanalyzed. Everything we need to look deeply into and discuss the socioeconomic reasonings for this or the underlying causes. It's like, no. Nara Smith has a lot of money. She has a husband that has a lot of money, and she uses the wealth that she's accumulated to do things that she likes to do and posts for everyone to watch. Wow. Like, this is not a shocking thing. This is not a new development. We don't need to do research on it. That's just my opinion.
Committal shrug and thought that was the end of, and I thought that was the end of it. Nope. She approached me again a few days later with the idea. I told her I was against it. I tried to pry more about why she wanted to suddenly be a trad wife. She kept banging on about TikTok and how she really does feel that her staying home would be the best thing for our marriage. She keeps bringing it up, and now it seems she's adamant. I can't get anything more out of her apart of like, it's good for our marriage. I watched some of these TikTok videos, I'm sorry, but they come across as really creepy. These trad wives seem to do nothing but dress like Lucy Ball and cook bread from scratch. It's bizarre, and not something I'm looking for in a lifetime partner.
Your partner got influenced by TikTok.
I don't know how much more I can tell Kate about how much I'm against this, and it's falling on deaf ears. As a result, I'm seriously reconsidering our relationship.
Good.
This is what I think. I think a lot of women and a lot of men feel a lot of insecurity about their future. And when you're in a job field you don't like because you chose a wrong career, or maybe you're feeling unfulfilled with your life, you look at these women on TikTok and you're like, oh, maybe if I stayed at home, I like caring for people, I like caring for my boyfriend, I'd love to care for the house, and that'll make me feel fulfilled. Now, that may be true for some people, but it's not going to be true for all of you. The same way not everyone is built for a lifelong job, not everyone's built for a trad life. Not everyone even has the ability or the privilege to. Not everyone's going to be able to work in the field that they're super passionate about. You know, some of y'all want to write poetry for the rest of your life. It's not possible for everybody, okay? So what this really comes down to is I think a lot of people are just running away from the fact that they're insecure about their future and they're just latching onto things that they see on social media. Be it the people who think that they're going to be entrepreneurs, are going to make it big, the guys who think if they just go into crypto and then they're going to be rich and they're going to be fulfilled. Everyone's looking for a quick way out. That's essentially what it is. Wherever you look on the internet, this is just another version of that. I know guys who are like, I'm gonna start doing the online shop. Not the things that they see on social media. I'm sorry, I'm calling the ladies out on this one. The amount of times women have told me, I want to farm. I want to farm. I want to farm so I can get our own milk and then get our own cheese and grow our own crops. And I'm like, bitch, all your plants are dead. You can't keep a fucking fern alive. And you want to do what? People see these things through this lens of social media and they're convinced that this is the life that they want. You're not getting a farm. And
I'm not gonna lie, I actually did farm work, and I can tell you very much so. It is extremely hard work. Facts, man. There's been facts. I mean, I'm all for women doing whatever it is they want to do, but I will say that this kind of lifestyle is extremely hard to maintain. And if you're a city person or if you've never worked on a farm, it's not something that you are a little bit familiar with, you are gonna be like literally overwhelmed about how much work goes into farming, and then you throw some kids and a husband on top of that. No, it's hard work. It's coming from somebody who's done it. Trust me, ladies, you don't want that life if you haven't been doing it every day of your life. As like, all right, so while I understand and agree with some of the points that Abba and Preach are making, which is what I have said before, is that not everyone is going to be able to afford to become a trad wife just because of the economic setup of how a lot of these countries are ran. But it is definitely something that you want to consider if you have children, because you actually can save money by staying home with your children. This individual, this young lady who, whose story was influenced by TikTok glamorizing trad life and trad wives, is really a symptom of women who are starting to realize, in my opinion, that they have been lied to about going out and having a career, and that's going to be your fulfillment in your destiny. Women are starting to realize that they want to have families, they want to have children, and that they want to start to connect with that feminine side of them. And there's also another issue that is at the root for many individuals, not just women, but the issue of home economics. I know that they talk in their video about how it takes time to make bread from scratch and it takes time to make cereal. If you guys are really paying attention, you will see that the whole cereal video that Nora Smith only used 4 ingredients, and the only part of that that took a considerable amount of time was rolling out each individual piece of cereal. But the idea of making food from scratch becomes easier and faster the more you familiarize yourself with the process. And there are some of us women who learned how to make certain things from scratch because that's just the way we were taught. So I'm particularly triggered by this video because there are lots of things that I don't buy at the store ready made because that's not how I learned to make those things. I learned to make them from scratch, and I can make them in very, very little time because it is so much a part of a habitual way of being for me that I don't need to do that. Plus, it is a very empowering feeling for an individual to be able to take real control of their nutrition and the calories and food that they consume. And so, if this is economic leisure or conspicuous consumption, I beg to differ, or I beg to challenge this person by saying that he is the one who is signaling to us his so called intellect by trying to talk down to women who have power over their households from an economic standpoint, for being able to provide their families with food at low cost. But you wouldn't know that because you are a man and you have never been a trad wife or a wife to anyone to be able to have to figure out how to save clothes by repairing them, or cook a home cooked meal instead of having your kids have to DoorDash or Uber Eats, which costs more than a home cooked meal in lots of cases, especially if you live in America. I hope you guys enjoyed this content. Please, thank you for stopping by, and I'll see you guys in the next one.